This channel won't survive without your subscription and likes. Help me. A drunk tourist threw a snowball straight at the guard's face, grinning, confident he'd get away with it. But in the very next second, the guardsman moved, suddenly, sharply, and what happened next left everyone around frozen in shock. That tourist had no idea what kind of punishment was coming his way. But let's start from the very beginning. London is wrapped in the biting grip of winter. Above Buckingham Palace, a heavy gray sky looms, occasionally sprinkling the square with light snowflakes. Tourists bundle themselves in scarves and thick coats, shielding their faces from the icy wind. Yet they continue to gather at the palace gates, mesmerized by the motionless royal guards in their crimson tunics and towering bearskin hats. Cameras click. Some take selfies. Others record short videos, marveling at the legendary stillness of the guards. Among the sea of tourists, one man stands out, a walking disruption to the atmosphere of grandeur and discipline. Tall, broad-shouldered, his face swollen from alcohol, he moves through the crowd as if he owns the place. A baseball cap bearing the American flag sits crookedly on his head, tilted as if it had just been yanked off. His coarse features, flushed cheeks, and slurred speech betray his intoxication. His bright orange jacket, unzipped and slightly grimy, strains against his belly, while his jeans look as if they haven't been changed in days. "Hey, buddy!" he suddenly bellows, his voice hoarse and soaked in booze, slicing through the cold air like a blade. The nearest guardsman, a tall, stone-faced white man, doesn't flinch. His gaze remains fixed ahead, as if he hasn't heard a thing. "Why so serious?" the tourist mocks, stretching out the words in a drunken slur, flashing a lopsided grin. The guardsman doesn't react. Now the crowd is taking notice. Some smirk, others shake their heads, recognizing that this American, clearly wasted, is about to make a fool of himself. "Oh, come on," the tourist whines theatrically. He sways on his feet, then suddenly leans down and scoops up a handful of snow. The air tightens. Spectators, once casually watching, fall silent. A few pull out their phones, sensing an impending spectacle. In the back, a group of teenagers snicker, nudging each other. Someone murmurs, "This idiot's about to get it," but they don't look away. The tourist squeezes the snow in his hand, shaping a firm snowball. His drunken eyes gleam with mischief, and a wide, childish grin spreads across his face. "Heads up!" With that dumb, playful phrase, he cocks his arm back and hurls the snowball straight at the guardsman's face. Time slows. The white mass smacks into the guardsman's still face. Snowflakes explode in all directions, some settling on his lashes and the thick fur of his hat. A damp mark is left behind as the melting ice seeps into his skin. But he doesn't move, not even a blink. The crowd gasps. For a moment, nothing happens. The tourist, the onlookers, even the guardsman himself, everyone is frozen. But something in the atmosphere shifts. The air is thick with tension, almost suffocating. The guardsman remains still, yet his stance seems somehow different. His jaw tightens. Snow melts down his cheek, but he doesn't react, as if he never felt the impact. The tourist hesitates for a fraction of a second, then bursts into laughter. "Ha! Did you see that?" He turns to the crowd, expecting cheers. Instead, he's met with silence. Dozens of eyes glare at him with disapproval. Now, even the most distracted tourists realize something is about to happen. The split second after the snowball hits the guardsman's face feels like an eternity. The murmuring of the crowd vanishes, as if the air itself has been sucked out of the square. And then, "Ooh, you are in trouble now, dude," someone laughs. A young man in a black jacket, already raising his phone to capture the moment. A few chuckles ripple through the crowd, but the laughter isn't lighthearted. It's uneasy, filled with nervous anticipation. The drunken tourist, however, is oblivious. He stands there, feet planted wide, grinning like a fool. His face, now even redder from the cold and alcohol, radiates misplaced triumph. The wet stains on his orange jacket begin to spread as the snow melts, leaving dark splotches on the fabric. "What? It's just snow! Take a joke, man!" he shouts, throwing his head back in exaggerated laughter. His voice drips with mockery, a challenge to both the guard and the silent crowd. But no one is laughing with him. The crowd isn't on his side. The guardsman still hasn't moved. But something has changed. His posture, once rigid but neutral, now carries an almost imperceptible tension. His jawline looks sharper, his muscles tighter beneath the immaculate red tunic. He stands exactly as before, yet now his stillness no longer reads as simple discipline. It's control, suppressed energy. The crowd shifts uneasily. Murmurs spread through the spectators. Their eyes flicker between the tourist and the guardsman, trying to predict the inevitable. "Dude, just walk away," someone mutters. A quiet but firm warning. The tourist glances around, but doesn't see who said it. Not that it matters. He's already made his decision. He's drunk, loud, and convinced of his own immunity. He's a tourist, not a local. He paid for his flight, his hotel, his food, his stupid Big Ben souvenirs. And now he's just having fun. Or what? He's a statue. He can't do anything. He sneers, his grin widening as he bends down again, scooping up more snow. The tension spikes. A few people in the crowd shift their weight, inching back. A mother quickly pulls her child away from the center of the commotion. The group of teenagers chuckle nervously, but this time their laughter wavers, uncertain. The snowball in the tourist's hand is firmer, packed tighter. This time, he doesn't aim for the face. This time, he's aiming for the chest. He raises his arm, takes aim. The crowd holds its breath, and before the snowball leaves his hand, the guardsman moves. Everything happens in an instant. The crowd hasn't even registered that the snowball never reached its target, yet the drunken tourist is already grinning, anticipating his moment of fame. But suddenly, a lunge forward. The guardsman, who just moments ago seemed like a lifeless statue, springs into action. His boots crunch through the snow with a sharp crack, leaving deep imprints. His red tunic flutters slightly, but he remains poised and unshaken. In one swift motion, he thrusts his musket forward like a spear, slicing through the space between himself and the tourist. "Step back!" His voice detonates like a cannon blast, shattering the silence. This isn't just a command, it's a thunderclap. Deep, powerful, vibrating through the air. It carries across the square, making the very ground seem to tremble. The crowd flinches. Some instinctively step back, though the warning isn't meant for them. But no one jumps as hard as the tourist himself. His smug grin vanishes instantly. His eyes widen. He stumbles backward in shock, his boots slipping in the loose snow. "Whoa! Hey, easy, man!" he stammers, his once defiant voice now shaky. He throws up his hands in surrender, but it doesn't matter. The guardsman remains motionless once more, but now his presence feels larger, more imposing. He doesn't even look directly at the tourist, yet his mere existence burns with authority. The tourist backpedals, his feet skidding across the wet snow. The crowd is no longer laughing. No one is filming anymore. No one wants to be next. The guardsman takes another step forward. "Move away from the guard!" This voice doesn't just command. It carries force, control, and an unspoken warning. Try that again, and you won't get off this easy. The tourist suddenly realizes the danger. Okay, I'm leaving," he mumbles, slurring his words as he stumbles backward faster. But panic and alcohol make for a bad combination. The wet snow beneath his feet betrays him. One last unsteady step. Thud. He crashes backward into a snowbank, sending up a white explosion of powder. The crowd gasps. For a moment, silence. Then, somewhere in the crowd, a muffled chuckle. The tourist, sprawled on his back, blinks up at the gray sky, trying to process what just happened. He looks ridiculous, pathetic. But the worst is yet to come. As if nothing had happened. The guardsman, who had moved with the force of a hurricane mere moments ago, freezes once more. He resumes his original stance, gripping his musket firmly, gaze fixed forward, posture impeccable. His face is unreadable, radiating perfect calm, almost as if he hadn't just scared a drunken fool half to death. The contrast is striking. A brief pause, a heartbeat of silence, and then the crowd erupts into laughter. Loud, genuine, rolling waves of laughter echo across the square. People slap each other on the shoulders, exchange looks of disbelief, point at the humiliated tourist still lying in the snow. Some clutch their stomachs, barely able to hold their phones steady from laughing so hard. "Karma, baby," someone yells cheerfully. The laughter keeps growing, transforming into a booming chorus. It's not just amusement at the tourist's fall, it's a collective moment of poetic justice. This man, who thought he could humiliate the guardsman, who craved his moment of viral fame, is now the punchline of his own joke. And now he's just cold, wet, and completely humiliated. Slowly he gets up, brushing snow off his clothes. His face is beet red, not just from the cold or alcohol, but from shame. White snowflakes cling to his beard and hair, making him look even more foolish. He licks his dry lips, as if trying to swallow the bitter taste of the situation. "This is bullshit," he mutters, but his voice lacks the power it had before. No one listens. People start drifting away, still laughing, still talking about what just happened. Some reenact the fall with exaggerated gestures. Others repeat the guardsman's booming command, mimicking his firm stance. But the real focus? The ones who caught it on camera. Phone screens are everywhere now, fingers flying across screens. "Dude, this is gonna go viral," a guy in a black jacket laughs as he uploads the video to TikTok. Within minutes, the clip begins spreading online. Headlines pop up like wildfire. "Drunk American tourist tries to mock British guardsman, man gets instant karma." Tourist thinks he can do anything. British guard teaches him a lesson. "Snowball versus British discipline. Who wins? You won't believe the ending." And as the video floods the internet, the guardsman remains at his post. Still motionless, still silent. No one can say for sure. But some in the crowd would swear, just for a second, there was the faintest flicker of a smirk on his lips.